Welcome. Thanks for joining me for Rise and Shine Yoga today. We'll use our practice as a way to wake up our body and our minds and ease any stress or tension. And then we're coming back to ourselves and knowing what we need for ourselves today. So we can start to get into that now. If you'd like to start in a seated position, feel free. You're always welcome to grab a chair. That's always an option too. If you're not comfortable on the floor, seated here, you can also lie down. We do a little check-in at the beginning of every class. So we spend a little bit of time in stillness, connecting to our body, connecting to our breath. So wherever you find yourself most comfortable, please do that. And please support yourself. Throughout the class, if you need to change your position, if you need to stop what we're doing, please just keep coming back to yourself. So in this time, we're going to, if you'd like to close your eyes and transition a little bit more to your body, noticing how you're feeling. So we can do a body scan where we take our awareness, we take our attention and flow it down. Let's start with the top of the head and just begin to take your attention down from your head through your neck and shoulders, from your upper body, your chest, your upper back, flowing down through your torso. And while we're here, we can also notice the breath flowing in and out. It can be helpful to help keep our focus on our breath. You can put your hand on your breath if that helps, or hand on your breath, hand on your belly if that helps you to tune into your breath a little bit more. Take your awareness and shift it down now from your torso through your hips, your legs, and your feet. And start to feel your foundation here, rooting down in towards the earth. Let your body settle here. You can even visualize through your legs, the base of your spine, your legs, your feet, that you're actually growing roots down visually, energetically into the earth. This is to connect us, to ground us, to draw strength, nourishment, stability, and a feeling of safety too. As we work on what we're doing, ultimately is opening our energy body and opening our foundation for that energy body through the root chakra. And then just like you're this beautiful flower, we're going to have from those roots, we're going to come up through the central channel of your upper body, right through the core. And you can even envision like a beautiful stem. And once you come up to the heart, you can envision a lotus flower blooming in the heart. You can let that flower bloom all the way up and expanding beyond, up through the crown, around. And breathing in and out. As you breathe in, notice where your breath goes on the inhale. You can start just focusing on it through the nostrils. a few times. And then as you inhale, notice where it comes into the body, where it sinks down and opens on the inhale. And what happens on your exhale? How does your body release the breath? Where do you feel the release in your body? You're helping your breath find a rhythm, a slow, steady rhythm on the inhale and the exhale. And then we're just going to do one more little exercise with the breath. And this will be the alternate nostril breath. So we're only going to do this about 5 times, 5 cycles of breath. But what we're going to do is take the index finger of the right hand and close off the right nostril. This may be a little tricky if you find you're congested in your nose. So if this doesn't work today, just we're learning it to know to do another time. This is an incredible purification breath. It balances the breath coming into the body, and it balances our energy body. So we're going to exhale through the left nostril, and then we're going to inhale through the left. And then we're going to switch. So then I like to just use that same finger. This is just my easy way to do it. And close off use my nail side of my finger. Close off the left, breathe out through the right, inhale through the right, and then switch. So you're always switching at the beginning of every exhalation. And you can use whatever hand position or fingers formation you like to use. You might notice when you first start this out that the breath isn't as smooth and steady as it could be, but over time you're promoting that balanced breath. The inhale's a certain length, the exhale's a certain length, and they're kind of matching up. The exhale could be a little bit longer. And we'll just do that for about 2 or 3 more breaths. And this time, as you exhale, if you want to release. It's interesting now as you inhale to focus again on the breath coming in through the nostrils and down into the body. Might be able to feel right, left sides a little bit more. And then this last time, let's just take on your next inhale, whenever you're ready to inhale, take a bigger breath in and try to widen through those side ribs in your back. And on your exhale, go release it all out. Good. That's a cleansing breath. Real nice to let go. Anything that we're experiencing that we're ready to let go of. We'll now start to change our position. And if you'd like to today, we'll come out of this seated position and just stretch your legs out to the side for a moment. It might be a little bit tight and stiff. That's normal over time. I remember years ago, and I had a little thought yesterday. I'm like, I've been teaching yoga for 20 years this year. But I remember in the beginning, my legs would, often fall asleep. I would feel really stiff doing that kind of seated position for a long time. But yeah, now I don't. So it's nice after 20 years. No. Some bodies are tighter than others, obviously. And I did have an extremely tight body when I started yoga. I was 5. No, I wasn't. I was a little bit older than 5. So if you'd like to, yeah, let's just get that circulation flowing a little bit. So if you'd like to make loose fists with your hands, and we're going to do a shiatsu massage technique, what we're going to do is start doing this down the outside edges of the legs, and then we'll come up the inside. And we'll do that same route a few more times. Massage is so good, obviously. Any kind of body work is so good, but this is something you can do really quickly on your own. Just to, it benefits, muscles, the blood flow, the energy flow. Even the organs are getting a bit of stimulation here because we're working on the channel. So we'll come down the top of the legs now. We're working on the energetic channels to come up the inside. I know that's the spleen meridian, but I forgot what all the other, the inside is the spleen meridian, but I've forgotten what the other ones were. Okay, and then we'll come down the back of the legs. And we'll come up the inside. There's way more movement than last year. That's another good day. If we're doing this also to help break up the cellulite. It is really good. Self massage is so good to get that, I mean, there's always going to be a bit of that, and that's okay. Our worth is not defined by what our body looks like. There was a beautiful video yesterday that I watched, and it was all about self-worth and how it comes from the inside, right? So loving our bodies, no matter what is going on, as we work through our body here today. So yeah, how does that feel? Can you feel a little bit different with a little bit more opened up? That's good. Let's bring you out of this position. So if you want to slowly transition, I like to do, if you're on a little seat, it's nice to do a bit of that supported squat to start. That's what I'm doing right now to help open up the hips. And this is a really good position. Ultimately, we're aiming eventually to come into more of that squat, but sometimes the knees don't allow for that, or whatever's going on in the hips. So that's a good way to start. And you can always do that little bit of an opening with the hands coming together and the elbows pressing against the legs. That'll widen out a little bit there. And then you can begin to release that. And we're going to come into a tabletop position. So if you want to come onto your hands and your knees. And I was like this warm up, just starting to move through the hips and doing whatever feels good here. You can start with a side to side movement with the hips. You can feel that through the side of your torso and through your back. That's good. And make sure, to support your hands. If you're not comfortable in this position, you can always use a block or whatever. That's great. Just to support your hands, or blocks to support your hands. And then your knees might be a little wider apart. You can start to roll through your hips. And always come back to your breath too, and just check in that you're not holding your breath. And if you are, just remind yourself to breathe. Okay, we can move in the opposite direction. It's really helping to loosen up our joints, especially good in the morning to do that, or in cold weather. Our joints definitely get stiffer in the cold weather. So we'll come forward, and this time if you'd like to come right into a tabletop position, you need a little stretch or a little break for your hands. You can turn your hands the other way, so your palms facing out. And I just put my tips of my fingers down and then start to push a little bit downward, but only what feels good for the wrists. Okay. And then And when you're on your hands too, if you want to make sure that a little bit more weight is on that little finger side, and it's going to help, it'll save your wrists to be in that position. And you're got a little bit of a cup underneath there. Okay, so let's start to do the cat-cow, which is a wonderful pose for the back. And most people have tightness somewhere in their back, so this just really helps to open us up. As you inhale, you can slowly look forward with your chin lifting up. If you've got some lower back issues, be careful not to deepen the curve too much when you're in this upward position. And then when you're exhaling, lift your belly, arch your spine. Feel that stretch right through your back. Just continue to flow here on your own time with your breath. And on the exhalation, you're also letting your head drop, your chin in towards your chest. Helping to open up right through the spine, also right through up through the neck. And also as you exhale, you're pulling your belly, you're activating those abdominal muscles, and you're starting to tone and strengthen them. Let's do that for 1 or 2 more breaths. Okay, this time as you exhale at the end, release, come back to tabletop. We're going to slide the hands out a little bit more and then begin to pull back with your hips and your upper body will lower in line with your arms. And we're coming into the puppy pose. If it feels like you need to come out, you can always do a little bit of a flowing movement. As you inhale, you come out. And as you exhale, you go back. There's another version of this pose where you come down onto your elbows, and you can do the same thing from the elbows. I like to come out or forward on the inhale and back into it on the exhale. Whatever position you're in, either on your elbows or on your hands, in a breath or two, let's switch to the other position and do a few times, few breaths in that other position. So if you're on your elbows, let's come up to the hands. If you were on your hands, come down to your elbows. And we'll continue that, just a few more breaths. And you can always come into it and just hold it. So I might hold it from my hands. Breathing is just like the downward dog, just like the downward dog. It's for the upper body to really open and lengthen. And then when we come into the full downward dog, we're opening and lengthening. We're wanting to do the same thing, but we're also strengthening. So we're lengthening and strengthening in the full pose. But this just really gets us ready, right? To keep that spine nice and open, to open the shoulders, the arms. And then we'll come back, hands coming in towards your body. You can slowly release that. Curl your toes under to transition, or come into a standing pose however you need to. If the squat isn't suitable for yourself, then but we're going to slowly transition up to standing. Take a moment just in that almost standing pose where you're a little bit like the chair pose. You can bring your feet a little closer in and do circling movement for your knees. So if you bring your knees together, hands above the knees, this is really helpful for the joints to get loosened up, warmed up. Move in the opposite direction. And then we'll slowly come right up to standing. You can stay as you are. And in our standing position, we'll work on the feet a little bit. You can flow back and forth from the heels to the toes, lifting and opening. When you come back to the heels, try to stretch the toes out a little bit, waking them up. There's so many little joints and bones and muscles. I think there's over 300 in each foot combined. So there's so much going on in the structure of our foot. And it's really good to pay attention to them once in a while because we need them. We'll come onto the outer edges of the feet, lifting up the inner edges. And then you can slowly roll back towards the center, putting the big toe base down. Good. And then bending and just making sure in yoga we align the bones of our body. That's a big, big thing. What we do in our postures, when we align bone, the muscles get happy, right? The muscles have to work overtime if our bones are not aligned. So we want to have those toes pointing forward, right? You can look at your feet for a moment. The outer edge line of your feet, like that, if you looked at it like a line, you want to kind of line it up with the edges of your mat so they're parallel. Does that make sense? And if you've got a little bit of the tissue kind of spreading out, we call it like, look like kind of like a shape in the feet. You want to really get onto those outside edges of the feet, push that tissue underneath if you can, if that makes sense. And then really more articulate with the bone that's located here right along the edge of your foot there, okay? And then come back towards the big toe. That'll help, this will help to really open up your arches too, so that when you stand, you feel lighter on your feet because it's like a little trampoline that kind of pulls you up off your feet. It opens your ankles. Can you feel that when you stand here? Softening through your knees. So let's bend and straighten through the legs a little bit. Bending and straightening. This is really good. This is how to work on the legs and how to work on aligning bone and working with our energy body too. So as you inhale, let's bend the knees. And as you exhale, let's straighten and let's push a little bit down. Like we're wanting to sink our roots down towards the earth. They go out through the soles of the feet. And then bend and soften. And this is receiving that energy from the earth. And then we push down, we push our roots down, penetrating into the earth. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale, bend, and we're opening. And then we exhale and straighten and push down and activate our legs, right? Can you feel that? Just the right amount of activation in your legs. Can you feel that when you stand here? The legs are for strength. That's where we get our strength from. Okay, so we want to feel that in our mountain pose. And then coming up through your upper body, let's bring the arms up. And as you exhale, release. Good, let's do that 2 more times. If you want to breathe like me and breathe out through your mouth. Take a big breath in and good. 1 more time like that. Good. Let's loosen the shoulders up. Let's just roll them slowly. You can move in one direction and then you can move in the opposite direction. And shaking that out through the arms. We're going to step a little bit wider apart on the feet. Okay, And then we'll do a bit of a flowing standing twist to help loosen up all throughout the upper body. If your feet need to come a little bit closer together, just if you're feeling you need that for stability, feel free. And this is a really nice way to energize in the morning time. Try to use this kind of movement when you find that you've got a bit of mind fog or just feeling really sluggish. And then we'll slowly release. And shake that out again. And then step your feet a little bit wider apart, forming a nice base. We'll bring the arms up to a star. And we're extending out. Imagine you're actually extending out right from this core center. And you can think of your physical body, you can think of expanding out, you can think of your energy body expanding out in all directions. And then turn your left foot out so that the toes are pointing the top edge or the side edge of your mat. And the back foot could come in a little bit here. Let's bring the arms right up and then straighten the arms. Pull the arms together. Pull the arm bones together and straighten like you're trying to squeeze your head a little bit. Good. And then on your next exhalation, release your arms and begin to bend the left knee. And we'll bend and straighten a few times. Again, feeling the shift through our legs, feeling how the weight is shifting back and forth. We're helping to strengthen and we're helping to open the hips. Most importantly, positioning that knee, the bent knee, aligning it towards your toes is really important here. Okay. And taking a few breaths in and out here. This is our warrior 2 position. When we're ready, we can add the arms, reaching out through the arms and opening. Good. You can find a spot to focus on. Steady your gaze there softly. You turn your back palm up. And we're here, steady and strong. And we're helping to invoke that sense of strength within us, the strength, the confidence, the stability, to be spiritual warriors. Okay, strong, steady, understanding your true self and ready for peace, right? So we'll take this back arm down and shoot up to the sky with your other arm. Good. If your leg gets tired, you can always straighten your leg. Okay. And just feel that lovely extension right through. Breathe it open. See if you can soften these side ribs here on the side of your body where the arm is lifted so that they're not lifting up too. You want to open and create space here. See if you can tune into your energy. And then when you're ready, you can release. And we're going to come up with the other arm into the triangle pose. Let's start this triangle off just where we are right here. We're not leaning over just yet. Just go straight through to open the pillars of our body, the pillars that run from the hips or from the shoulders to the hips on both sides. You're creating space and alignment. We're just not wanting to collapse one side as we come over. So you can come over, keeping that openness in your upper body with your pillars into triangle pose. And rest your arm against your head or your head against your arm a little bit there. And then we're going to slowly take it down. But as we take this arm down towards that left side, the opposite side, bend your knee and come into the side angle. And then we're going to let that arm come right down towards that opposite foot. Okay, and then slide it back to center. So you can turn your feet centered. Hang out here in the middle for a moment. And you can slightly bend your knees. You can use blocks for support underneath your hands. And just let your head hang. It's really nice to let your head hang here. And when you're ready, ground down through your feet, really root down. Take your hands to your thighs and slowly rise up, reaching through your arms as you do. Okay, again, we want to keep these arms open. We want to find our best spot to align the bones of our arms. The bones of our arms are very important. The muscles will love it if we can just open and pull up and straighten the arms. And even maybe pull them back a little bit. Good. Feel that right from where this starts, right? It actually starts really down into the torso. But we want to soften the ribs and go. Let's take a deep breath out and try to let the ribs soften here and pull down. And the arms go up. That'll create space in your shoulder joint. Good work. One more breath like that. Good. We'll release the arms, give them a break for a moment. And we'll turn the right foot out to the side. If you want to switch around, so you're not, you can't face the back wall, but if you want to switch around, you can. And we're working on the right side now. So, also look at your foot too. And you might notice, and the knee will go out of alignment, but if you're out of alignment, what happens is you fall onto that inner part of your foot, right? And the knee juts out that way. That's really important to start at the foot and look, I've got an open arch there. I'm centered in my foot as I find that alignment. That's good. And then bend and straighten through it. Bend and straighten. Start to feel right from the core of your legs, this movement. Feel it right from the core. Good. And my muscles aren't like tightening hard. It's just, I'm working deeply, like going right to the bones. If you can feel, you start to feel your bones a little bit more, okay? As you align them. Let's bring the arms up in the warrior two. And you can gaze softly over your right hand this time. And every pose invokes different qualities. So for you, it might feel a little bit different, but it's also about balancing the opposites. So in the lower part of the body, we're strong, we're steady. In the upper part, open. We're not tightening the arms. We're soft and open, but at the same time, it's pulling outwards with both hands, okay? Good. All right, let's drop the left hand down and reach up. If you need to give your leg a break, you can straighten it for a moment. Check out that foot, just make sure it's not rolling in. That's the tendency, is to let it roll in. This will strengthen your arches. Okay, and if you want to come over a little bit into a side bend, release the ribs here. When I say that, I mean like, don't let them come up with you. Don't let everything just bunch up. Try to keep this down and open the arm up. Okay. Good. And from here, we'll straighten the leg. I might just bring my feet a little bit closer, bring that back foot in just a little bit. And I'll bring both arms up for a moment into triangle pose. From triangle, I'll drop the right hand down to my right leg. Okay, keep the left arm lifted. Right. And then I'm coming over that side, but without collapsing the right side of my body. See if you can do that. Play around with it. Play around with it. Adjust your body. Don't, when you first go into it, it's not about just going, oh, I'm here. There's movement, there's shifting, there's trying to find what feels good in your body, right? What feels good in your body. If it doesn't feel good, then you have to question that and go, oh, then I'm going to come up. I'm going to try it a little bit differently. Try it a little bit differently. And from this pose, we're going to come into side angle. So if you want to lean over that side with your arm and reach through. And give yourself a break when you need to. And then reach for that foot with that upper arm, reach for the opposite foot. We'll come to center, hanging down here. From this pose, I'm going to walk my hands back. It doesn't really matter which side you're coming to, but I'm going to come over to one side, hands on either side of my foot. So I'm transitioning into the lunge however I need to. You can drop that back knee. You can use blocks for support, right? Or you can come upright more. You can adjust the spacing between that front foot and your knee. And do just a little bit of movement back and forth. Little bit of movement back and forth. Good. All right, come up onto your back foot. So curl your toes under and push back. See how that feels? And if you can look back and step back with your front foot, we'll come into that downward facing dog that we were preparing for earlier. Come into your alignment here if you want to be a little bit more weight on the outer edge of your hands. I actually lift my thumbs and my first two fingers and then pull them out and come back. There's space underneath them. I'm just touching my fingertips here. You can walk your legs out a bit from side to side if they're tight. So you're bending one knee, sending the other heel down. And then we'll come forward, dropping the knees down. You can hold the half plank for a moment. And then we're going to lower right down onto the belly. And I would advise, we're going to do a little back bend. So if you want to do this to start, you would slide your arms out as much as you want until you find what's comfortable. You can wiggle a bit in your hips, pull one leg out, pull the other leg out, and just feel like you're on the front of your pelvis here. And it's a really good position to continue to practice is a back bend where we're opening up through the front of our body and curling the spine this way. Helps keep our mobility in our spine, keeps our energy flowing. So this is a lovely pose. The Sphinx is lovely. And just breathing here. So if it doesn't feel good for your lower back, you got to figure that out, right? We're not doing anything to harm our bodies. So our bodies will tell us what's going on. So you can always just come out of it. Try to also, you can, if you know you need to work on a little bit more strength through the core, you can, what I do is I push my arms a little bit more firmly down and then lifting the belly up a little bit, okay? And that'll tone those muscles there. And that supports, these muscles support us to sit up and stand up nice and tall. And they take the strain. When they're strong, they take the strain off the back muscles that have to try to do that. Okay. And they help align our spine. So it's good. We'll come right down onto the belly. Just sink right down for a moment. And reach your arms back. You can maybe interlace your hands behind you. You can bring your head to center. Okay. And you just pull out through your arms if that feels okay. If it doesn't, then just keep your hands behind you, maybe pulling back a little bit. Keep the hands together. You might deepen this and come into a bit of a back bend with the head lifting or not. And then release your arms back down. Slide them underneath your shoulders. And we're going to prepare to come off the belly. So you can also curl your toes under, push into the floor to come up. And we'll go all the way back. And if this is a pose that's comfortable for you, stay here. You can always modify it, add some support underneath your head, between your legs. You can put a roll, a blanket roll, a pillow between your legs. And just let your back soften here. And it's a wonderful pose. Wonderful pose. It helps us to come into ourselves. It helps to balance our nervous system. It soothes our nervous system, and it soothes those overworked adrenal glands that are located in the lower back, above the kidneys. We can breathe, we can send our breath into that area of the lower back for a few breaths. So as you inhale, see if you can feel your breath moving into your lower back. You can direct it there. As you exhale, you're feeling that release. We'll stay here for a couple more breaths, but you're welcome to, of course, come out whenever you need to. It just helps to calm the mind, this position. It helps us to find a place where we feel safe. And secure. Brings us back to that womb-like quality when we're inside the womb, that feeling of safety and having all of our needs met in that position. So you can come up when you're ready, sliding your hands underneath your shoulders and gently pushing up with your inhale, slowly coming up. And we'll come up to come down onto the back. So if you want to have anything you need for being on your back here, we'll end the class here, but we're going to do a couple more things before we do our relaxation. So transition onto your back. You can keep your knees bent with your feet on the floor. And just let your back settle and sink. Feels really good. This is a really good pose right here. What we're doing right now to help align the back of the spine and right through the neck and the head. You can rock your head a few times from side to side. Bring your head back to center if you'd like to extend your arms out. Widen out through your arms, bring them out to the sides. And with your knees bent and your feet on the floor, begin to slowly shift your legs And you can start with just a slight shift side to side, letting your legs slowly drop to one side. And then come back to center and slowly shift to the other side. And come back to center. You can play around with the positioning of your feet. Your feet can start a little bit closer together, and then you could try it a few times, feet far wider apart. Just tune into how this feels through your back and your hips and all those places. Then maybe you want to come into this pose and just be in it, legs to one side. Maybe if you'd like to stack your legs a little bit more. If you have a prop, you can add. It's nice, can be nice to put that block or cushion between your knees. You can bring your head back to center. You can also turn your head to the other side. If you're holding the pose and letting your body more deeply release here. Taking a few slow, steady breaths in and out. A breath that you can hear, a breath that you can feel. And then you can slowly come back to center if you haven't already, and switch if you're wanting to come back to center, realign through your lower back. So you might need to, with your feet on the floor, press into the feet, lift your hips a bit, realign here, and then you can drop your legs to the other side. Keep that opposite shoulder down. You can turn your head in that direction. Sometimes whatever direction my legs are going, I'll bring that hand on that side and to the top of the leg. So just on the outside of that top leg. And feel whatever needs to let go. And know that it will over time. We just need to let our body relax here to more deeply unwind. And breathe here. I'll stay for one more breath. And on your inhale, begin to come back to center. Slowly shifting back to center, aligning your feet hip distance apart, closer in towards your body, pushing down into your feet to lift your hips up. And then to roll down your spine, bone by bone, vertebra by vertebra. We'll do that 2 more times with breath. On the inhale, plant your feet, let your hips lift, activate your inner thighs a little bit, press on an imaginary ball or block between your thighs. And then slowly come down. We'll do that one more time, one more breath. I also like to use it to push. I can push my shoulders down and lengthen my neck here using my legs. I can push on my shoulders, the backs of my shoulders, and push them down away from my ears. And come back. And let your back sink and settle. Rock your head from side to side. One more pose. So I'm going to suggest a pose, but I'd like you to, get a sense of what your body wants to do now. You might get a sense of that. You might not, but I'm going to bring knees to chest and bring my arms around my legs. But if something else comes to you, please follow that. And at home, if you want to keep going, you have the luxury of doing that. Just keep going. You can, if you're watching the recording, you can always pause here before Shavasana and do a few more poses on the back. Okay, but for now, we'll come into our final position here, Shavasana, and we're going to let ourselves get really comfortable. You can place whatever you need underneath your body. Some people like to put something underneath the thighs or the knees. You can cover up with a blanket. That's always nice. And I also like to put something underneath, over top of my eyes, especially if it's really bright where you are. It just helps to settle your gaze inward a little bit more, and it relaxes the eyes more deeply. Especially nice if you have a lot of tension in your head. And then this is about becoming effortless, surrendering, releasing all tension everywhere, as much as we can, as much as we can let go of this tightness or holding at this time. You can start by observing your legs and your feet. And seeing if you can let them release a little bit more. Sometimes we're still holding our body, and we can actually let the feet flop out a bit more, just soften and shift around until you feel a real release in your legs. And once you release your body physically, you may notice that you start to tune into your vibrational body, your energy body. It's also referred to as the subtle body. And it might feel a little like tingling or trembling. And just imagine your breath flowing in and out through your body. Imagine it can flow as it flows in, that it flows through your entire body all at once. Without your effort, it just does that. Your whole body is breathing here. Your whole body on the inhalation brings in that prana, that energy that expands right through your entire body and around your body too. And as you exhale, your energy body stays. It actually can get a little bit even stronger. And you're letting go, really releasing. Really releasing so that your energy body can get stronger. Moving up through your hips, your lower back, your belly. The wave of breath and energy flows in, expanding, and the wave releases. But the energy stays strong. Go right through your body, just exploring the sensation, how to let go a little bit deeper through your upper body. Your shoulders sink, backs of your shoulders sink, your arms get comfortably heavy. Your chest opens. Your lungs open. Your heart opens. Really tuning into the heart center and how you can soften, how you can work on the heart chakra energy center by using your breath in a very soft, subtle way. Breathing in and out of your heart. A very soft, subtle way. This is our feeling heart. We feel so much. We feel so much through our heart. We want it to stay open, even though that sometimes allows in more difficult emotions, but we want to be able to stay open. We want to be able to feel, to breathe. We want to find how we can heal through the heart, heal ourselves by working on the heart. You just make that intention to start the healing process by being open here. Let your heart feel. Let it move through whatever waves of emotion want to come through. Emotion is energy, energy, in motion. Emotion is energy in motion. And we want energy to be in motion. We don't want it to be stuck in the tissues of our body, creating disease. We want it to move. Staying centered here, opening the throat, opening the throat. Let's do a cleansing breath in and then a breath out, an H-A-A-A breath out. That'll cleanse from the heart. It'll pull up whatever's from the heart and it'll cleanse it out. We'll do that a couple more times, doing that breath. Let it open right through the heart. Make some sound, make some sound. Ha, let's make a little bit more sound. Ha. Yeah, that's really good. Let's do that again. Breathing in. Breathe into your upper back, your belly. Ah. Let that sound move whatever's there through the body. It's so good at doing that. It's so good. The sound is so good at moving whatever needs to move. Let's do that a couple more times. It'll release those repressed emotions. Good. You can do this at home when you're comfortable. Maybe you're at home now. Continue to do this maybe for up to 5 minutes. You can always pause the video and continue to make the sound like I was just making, the ah sound. Let it be as quiet or as loud as you'd like. Let it be as quiet or as loud as you like, but use it to release, to release. It is a wonderful tool to use. Opening the throat, opening the jaw. One more ah. Okay, one more. Good. I kind of tilt my head back and really open my chest for that one. So you might, if you're going to continue to do this, you might want to even put a little pillow underneath your upper back to really create that space. Okay. So if you're finishing up there, you can bring your hands lightly back to your heart center. Bring your hands lightly back. And I want you to say something to yourself that feels really meaningful that you need to hear. It's an affirmation for yourself. It's powerful. It's going to be a powerful, simple, short, positive statement to empower you, to support yourself. It might just come to you if you're used to working this way, or you could use something like, I'm important too. Okay. I'm important too. Or I'm enough. Yeah. I'm more than enough. Feel that. Feel that thought. Our thoughts are so powerful. They create our reality. They manifest our reality. So remember to use empowering statements. Talk to yourself. Okay. You can start to wiggle your toes a little bit, your fingers. Gently and slowly coming out. You can rock your head a few times from side to side. Do any last stretch on your back that feels good. Okay. When you're ready, you can slowly roll over. And you want to come up slowly. And take time when we release what's going on within us. It takes time to process. So be extra special and kind to yourself today. Do whatever you need to do for yourself. Make that make that a priority in your life, in your day. Take care of yourself. To honor to be here in the moment for our happiness, for our joy. And being grateful for all that we do have. We're so lucky. And yeah, before we end today, when we're in a place of peacefulness, when we're in a place where we can feel, that our energy is starting to move through and expand and, coming into that core being essence of love and peace. And we can send that out into the world. And that's so, 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 so important right now. So important. We all need to do our part to stay here in this higher vibration, because that's what the world needs the most, right? It's easy in these times to get sucked down into the lower vibrations, and we'll go back and forth between them. The lower vibrations of fear, all those lower. Fear's not even the lowest, but we don't want to be all pulled down into it. We need to do our part, and our part is to try to stay peaceful as much, or come back to this as much as we can. I know we aren't all here to just live this way, all the time, but we have to remind ourselves to come back so that our energy will expand so far into the world. These higher vibrations, they move through and they dissolve, they dissolve the lower vibrations. So we can visualize like we're this, we're in our core center, and it's like a ripple effect. It's like if you were to throw a pebble in the water, right? Those ripples. And that's what happens. We expand outwards, and we can get as big as we want. We can get as big as we want with our energy. We can surround the entire planet. We can even move beyond the planet into the galaxy, with our energy. This thing is super, super, super powerful. We don't realize, well, look how powerful it is, right? It's super powerful. So use it wisely. Use it wisely. Remind yourself of whatever you need to remind yourself, and let's send peace out right now. Our intention to send peace out to the world, our love and support for all the people that are suffering today. For all those people, we're going to send it out here and now. 3, 2, 1. It's there. Okay. So we keep coming back to that, okay? Keep doing your part. Thank you so much. Namaste. And I hope you have a wonderful day today.